What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Aaron Nix. This is the WrestleBlog YouTube channel. I thought I'd delve into a little bit of news that's been floating around over the past few hours that I've just picked up on, and I thought it was worth reacting to and talking about. NXT referee Drake Wuertz seems to be finding himself in everyone's firing line. It was released, the footage at least, was released by David Bixenspan, who I'm not personally a huge fan of. I don't have any disrespect towards the man. I'm just not particularly a big fan of his style of work or approach. That's just my personal opinion. But he did release this clip of referee Drake Wuertz. Of course, he's a referee for NXT. He was a long-term wrestler, deathmatch wrestler. He was a member of CZW, amongst other things, PWG as well. A guy who, by all intents and purposes, was very well liked on the independent scene, and he's quite well liked as a referee in some quarters. However, he apparently has a lot of heat backstage in NXT. A lot of people are surprised he's still with the company. He has some very, shall we say, vibrant opinions. He believes in a lot of conspiracy theories, some of them incredibly radicalized, including QAnon. If you don't really know what I'm talking about in terms of those things, feel free to Google them. But basically, the idea is that these are radical conspiracy theorists and they go beyond free thinking to a certain extent. So obviously, this video has surfaced and I figured for context, I would show you it.
Informed decisions, you will not get reelected. That's right. There will be a recruit of freedom-loving Republicans that will replace you. Commissioner Delary, I would like to turn my attention to you, sir. You've been a strong advocate for victims of human trafficking through your work with the Lifeboat Project. I commend you for doing so, sir. Continuing this mask mandate only puts vulnerable children at risk of being preyed upon by traffickers and predators. Nonverbal cues are often a first sign for distress in identifying potential victims of human trafficking. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. Forcing and normalizing face coverings only makes it easier for sex traffickers to target kids in our community. Protect Seminole County children, Commissioner Delary. And I would like to close with the 30 seconds that I have by calling for the immediate resignation of Emergency Manager Alan Harris. He is an awful leader. He is not an elected official. He has no business playing the role of a dictator to the people of Seminole County. God bless you all. God bless the great free state of Florida.
So in that video, Drake Wuertz was calling into a county commissioner's report of sorts, I believe. A county board of county commissioners for Seminole. I don't know if it was a major political discussion or not. Drake's very passionate about his politics, obviously. He's obviously incredibly right-wing. He's obviously a very staunch Republican. Me personally, I don't subscribe to labels like that. I think they can be quite dangerous, just as they can be in terms of gender identification and things of that nature. They can be helpful, absolutely. And, you know, I have no issue with any of my friends, whether they be close or not, and anyone in the wrestling business who chooses to subscribe to a different theory to me. I think that it's healthy, and it's also very important that we open up debates to all people and we discuss different things with people. I don't think it's very smart to live in a society where we just think, oh, okay, well, that guy is a right-winger, so I'm just not going to talk to him. Okay, well, how are you supposed to grow and learn? And how is that person supposed to grow and learn and educate themselves as well? It is what it is. But I think what bothers me about this is the fact that, obviously, as you would have seen in the footage, you know, Drake's saying that masks make it much easier for sex traffickers to operate. I don't have any statistics to prove whether that isn't the case or is the case. What worries me most about this is the fact that it seems to have brought an astonishing level of hate from the social media and wrestling community. I understand why. You know, I don't personally subscribe to some of these radicalized, ridiculous conspiracy theories. In fact, I don't really subscribe to any of them, frankly. I have my vaccine. I'm very happy that I have my vaccine. I'm looking forward to traveling, covering wrestling, being able to perform myself. And that is one of the major reasons why I got a vaccine. And also because I don't believe that Bill Gates is going to watch me masturbate ultimately. So, and even if he does, good for you, Bill. To be honest, with the way modern technology is nowadays, he can probably hack into any of these cameras at any point and watch me masturbate anyway. So it's fine. It is what it is. For me, what bothers me is the fact that the wrestling community seems to think that because somebody has a difference of opinion to them, whether it be ridiculous or not, I think it's a very dangerous precedent that we're setting by essentially saying to people, if you don't fall in line with a left-wing line or liberal line of thinking, that you are somehow a scumbag and you shouldn't be allowed to operate in any way. Very similar to the way we're handling things over here in Britain. It feels more and more like if you don't subscribe to Liberal or Labour, and if you're a Conservative in any way, that you're scum and you should be treated as such. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that a Conservative or a right-wing or Republican way of thinking or going forward is necessarily good for any society. Like I've just said, I don't really subscribe to either side. I think both of them can be incredibly toxic and dangerous. What I'm not going to do is use this platform to spread public outrage about Drake Wuertz. First of all, everybody else has done that, okay? If you want my genuine opinion, I don't have a problem with him having those opinions. I just don't, because ultimately it's his right and it's his freedom of speech and his choice as to what he chooses to believe in. That's why it is a choice. That is the joy of living in a free world and a free country like the United States of America, just like it is living in Great Britain, at least to a certain extent, although we don't kind of push the freedom of speech boundary nearly as much as the Americans do, and that's fine, because ultimately that is their amendments. The only thing I can really pick up on is I think it's incredibly short-sighted to do this call while working at the Performance Center, and especially when you have an NXT branded t-shirt on. You're essentially wearing your working uniform, and when you are wearing that, more often than not, world and business rules will apply to you and be applicable to you in the sense of you now represent the company, especially if you're wearing your uniform. For instance, as an example, I used to be a postman in Royal Mail, which is a miserable job in England, miserable company that mistreats their employees, and I'm happy to spend all the time of day speaking about that and the alleged, nonsense that goes on in Royal Mail. But when I was wearing my uniform, for instance, I used to like going down a pub after work, and I would keep my uniform on. I'd pop down a pub, I'd have a few drinks with my mates, maybe have a game of pool. Sometimes I'd be wearing my uniform as I went to football practice for whatever reason, and obviously I'd change before I played in it. But ultimately, if I got in any altercations while I was wearing that uniform, I was also aware that I was responsible for my line of thinking and my line of behaviour while wearing said uniform. So that really is the kind of pinnacle of my thought process there. Do I think it's good that Drake Wuertz has these opinions? Not necessarily, but he also has a right to them, and I think that people need to relax a little bit. I'm sure every other YouTube channel in sight will be talking about this. I'm sure that loads of them will be full of incredibly hateful and aggressive left-wing leaning people, and that's fine too. So my apologies if this is a little bit more boring, but I thought it was worth discussing. But frankly, my overall thought process is that although I don't necessarily agree with Drake Wuertz, I do recognise that he is absolutely entitled to his opinion. However, WWE is also entitled to act upon this. And I will say one thing, for somebody to have such a passionate and powerful opinion towards sex trafficking and the respect and protection of our young people, as everyone should, it goes without saying that his company has not exactly shown itself to be an incredibly favourable light when it comes to the alleged accusations levied against some of his fellow employees when it comes to sexual misconduct, particularly with minors. And even in the case of NXT, where you have Velveteen Dream and Austin Theory who have had allegations levied against them, and in some cases there has been some evidence presented forward that should really suggest that those people should, if nothing else, be suspended until things have been dealt with in a correct and appropriate manner by the law system and the justice system. Hopefully you've taken some sort of context from this video. I don't want to say hopefully that you've enjoyed it, because ultimately it's not something that we should be enjoying talking about this subject. I think it's good that we talk about it in a sensible and educated manner, however. My apologies that things have been a little bit slow here at the Wrestle Plug. We will try and pick up pace. Unfortunately, I was part of a head-on collision with a deer in my vehicle. Some people might have seen on my personal social media. Luckily, I'm okay. A few mental scars, but I've got plenty of those anyway. But ultimately, while I'm waiting for things to be dealt with by the car and obviously the accident itself, that means I can't lend nearly as much time as I normally do to Wrestle Plug. However, it will only be a few days at maximum, hopefully. So normal business will be resumed very quickly, but I felt that this was an issue that was worth talking about, particularly in the heightened sensitivity that we live in society right now. So from myself, Aaron Nix, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you very soon for more content from the WrestlePlug.